Okay, camera's there. Try and look at it. I always scratch my head. Must be a nervous tick. Right, so some of you may be aware I've just released the first version of the Brahma 360 Studio software. I've been really busy with setting this up. Now, if you've come to here and you kind of expecting a really professional outfit, sorry about that. But you know, I'm trying to do this correctly, but I'm trying to share every single bit of the story of how this is done. So there's a ton of videos showing me in good light, bad light, whatever. But this is not a glossy thing. But I'm going to try in this video to give a lot of information. So I have covered setting up the Git2 cameras in the past, but I'm still getting questions about it. So I'm guessing I haven't done it correctly. So what I'm doing with this video is I've even got it scripted so I don't forget stuff because I'm getting old. But what I'm going to do in this video is I'm going to try and cover as much as I possibly can that you're going to need to set not only the Git2s up for capturing video, taking photographs, etc., but mainly for the streaming. So obviously this is about the 360 Studio Stream, but it's all part of the same package, which is our Brahma control system. So hopefully I am emphasizing this on the Git2 cameras. So for setup, etc., and everything in here is the Git2 cameras. So I suppose this I can come to the first section, camera overview, features, etc. Oh, by the way, this video is going to go on for at least an hour. What I will do, I will in the description, I will put a list of the timings of all the different sections that are from this script, so that you can just jump into that and see the bit that you're interested in. You can skip to. Okay, I'm going to do that to make life a bit easier for you. Right, so let's actually get started, and this will go on. I'm expecting this to go on for about an hour, because I do tend to waffle. Part of the reason I waffle, I think, is because I'm trying to remember what to say, and so I go into autopilot. So what's this all about? Right, I don't want to go through the history again. That takes 5-10 minutes. But it's basically about trying to create, the plan always was to create a live stitching, real-time stitching system using economic hardware. And some people call them GoPro rip-offs. I got a little comment on that. Now, the GoPro is a great little device, but do you think they actually invented these things? All they did was put a camera, very well made, beautifully done, but they put it in a box. And these cameras have been in loads of devices. They've been in different shapes and forms. You get them in normal camcorders. Then you had the camcorders, you had them with a solid state. Then you had them with an SSD card. This is nothing new. All they did was they stuck it in a tiny little square box that you could stick on your helmet or something. So the fact that calling these other cameras rip-offs, I think is a little bit... They're copying the form factor. Okay. And whilst I'm an Apple fan as well, it's a bit like saying, well, you're cloning the iPhone. Yes, the iPhone had some amazing features. I've had one. I got bored and went back to Android. I bought one for my wife. They're brilliant little devices. And they charge a fortune for them, same as the laptops. I've got a laptop. I think they're fantastic. But this whole cloning and trademarking, do something new and people will buy it. You know, don't rip people off. Anyway, get a bit heavy there. But anyway, so the whole thing about these being GoPro clones. No, yes, they've copied the fact that it's in a box. But that's about it. And for example, the Xiaomi Yi, it did the same thing as the Hero 3. £50 compared to about 200. The new Xiaomi Yi 4K is better, in my humble opinion. Not that I've got one, but going by footage, is better than the Hero 4 Plus. Now, I'm not banging here, but I get people come all the time about GoPro's the only one. No, well, no, it was that form factor. So anyway, I've always tried to create products that using the similar technology that people have done before. Nothing I do is new. I don't think I've done anything excitingly new, but I'm trying to make it available to everyone. And these cameras are a lot cheaper. So I have, out of the three, I mean, I support 3 cameras. Xiaomi Yi, the original. Well, I do for streaming, but it's not really up to it. The Xiaomi Yi I do for control. The Yi 4K, I have got 2 rigs, and I will be supporting for software. But I just have to I haven't had time. There are problems, and ultimately, it is a fine camera, and it is superior in quality to the Git2s. Not by much though, all right. But that's my opinion. Twice the price again. So I am concentrating for now on the Git2s. I will support the E4K. I will do that. But it still isn't complete. It still hasn't got station mode for Wi-Fi and bits like that. So, or it might have, and I haven't got it yet. But. So right now, for live streaming, the only toy in town is the
Git2s.
Okay, and here's a clue right in front of you why it's so cool, because it's connected to my USB port, and it can be a webcam, and it can be a high resolution webcam. This is why I think, and it has got a Sony sensor in it. It does give great output. It is well, I don't know. You tell me. I mean, I'm just going to point this. Let me just switch cameras so you can see both. It can be slightly, and I say slightly, saturated for your liking, which you can take out in post. The Yis tend to be a little bit more natural, but it's a very good sensor, and I really do like it, and it's capable of so much. It might be struggling a bit here because I'll keep it out of the light. Right. The camera that I'm actually using to film me is basically one of the old, one of the SJ4000s. 30 quid. Again, you can use it as a webcam. So anyway, Christ, I've waffled all night already, and I've really got to get into this. So that's the first thing. So everything you're going to see in here is about the Git2, okay, because I really do like them. Now, what I'm going to show now is the setup. Right, so I'm going to turn on. Let me just switch. Okay, I'm going to turn on my Git2. You have to hold the button down for a second. Sadly, it doesn't. It's not. I haven't got autofocus on this, so it might not be quite focused in well. Now, here's the first thing. I've set this up for Wi-Fi. When you set them up for Wi-Fi, and this is a really complicated subject because you're going to have different uses for these cameras. I mean, like I'm filming now, that's a web camera. If you're doing 360, you have different settings. If you're going to use it for streaming, you've got 2 Git2s in Wi-Fi mode, and to make it easy, I set the not Wi-Fi mode. Well, you can have a Wi-Fi mode or USB mode. So it's quite complicated, but I'm going to give you the hopefully an understanding of what to do. So for setting up Wi-Fi, you see this is already set up in Wi-Fi. What I'm going to do is I'm going to turn off Wi-Fi, because when you've got it in Wi-Fi mode, you can't use it manually. So this is set to automatically come into Wi-Fi mode. So I'm going to turn this off. Right, I'm going to hold down this little key. It's a little blue light here. I'm going to hold down that key. Okay. And that's now off. So I'm now in manual mode again, and it's disconnected from the Wi-Fi. Let me go into. Now I'm going to show you you'll notice I'm going through video, then camera, then playback mode, and then into system settings. Now I've done that with this button on the front here, which is the main button. Okay, once you get to there, press the top button, takes you into the system settings. Now the ones you want to really worry about on this menu, what I do is I go into, I ignore all of these. There's lots of settings in here, which obviously you're going to struggle seeing this, but just take my word for it. There's one in here further on, which is called auto power on off. Okay, now I've got that turned off. You can set that so it auto turns off, but when you're doing this, you don't want that. There's date and time settings, which I don't bother, because the software actually automatically does that if it's connected. Okay, you can go through system language, PAL. There's lots of. I'm not going to go through every setting in this. But this is the one. If you want to set this to as a Wi-Fi camera, you need to set this into station mode. Okay, if you've got it set into AEP mode, it will not work because it's then a router. Go into station mode. Now, the next one, auto start. Do you want it auto start? So if you're setting this up as a Wi-Fi controlled camera, no matter whether you're connecting to a router or if I'm looking over there, sorry, if you're connecting to a router or if you're connecting to your mobile phone hotspot. I'm not going to cover hotspots. I've done that in other videos, but if you just how to set your hotspot up. Now most for the duets it doesn't matter, but you can set this up to go to stream through to your hotspot on your mobile phone. So that's, I'll show you that in the client settings in a minute. But you have to decide if you want it to come automatically. If you don't, if you have this off, then you have to press that button on the side to turn it on, enable it. So it's horses for courses what you're doing. This is why I don't sell to consumers, because they want point and click, and maybe one day I can get to a product that is point and click. This is not. Okay, you have to understand a little bit, and it's, bear with me on this. Right, so the next one, RC pairing, you can ignore that. USB prompt. Right. If you're going to use, let's see if I bring this a bit closer, sorry. If you're going to use this as a web camera, you want to probably, if you look at my camera, my rig over here, this is my main 360 live camera. I set this so when it boots up, it goes straight away into web camera mode. Then all I do, as soon as I turn the power on for the rig, okay, when this is turned on, they both automatically go into web camera mode. All right, and they're ready. But that depends on what you're doing. You've got the camera set up for. But for now, we're just this particular camera is, I want this to prompt. So when you plug in USB, obviously because I'm going to use it for you're setting as a mass storage device or so on. Now this is the flexibility of this camera. You can't do this on the other Yees. I don't believe you can do this on GoPros. I don't think you can do it. Well, no, you can on the SJ series. Basically, this uses a Novatech chipset, so you can do quite a lot. So the SJ series, if they fix their firmware, then you'll be able to probably do the same kind of things. But these guys have been, Viofo have been fantastic, so I'm sticking with them. And that's pretty much the setup of the camera. I'll briefly go through some of the other settings again. I hope you can see this, because I know it's a bit out of focus, but there's not much I can do about that. So I'll tell you what, I'm going to just check something. Yeah, so I just wanted to make sure I was in Yeti, using Yeti. Right, so let's press that button that closes the menu. Okay, and now it's automatically turned on Wi-Fi again because I've got Wi-Fi auto start. So let me turn that off again. Right, now if I click on settings for, now I'm in the, as you can see by the top left hand corner, you can see a little webcam. You probably can't actually. It's a little webcam picture, right? If I press settings, I go into the video resolution settings. Now, you can leave it default, but if you're going to go Wi-Fi, if you're using Wi-Fi, you need to set this at 1920 by 1440 in 4:3 mode, okay? And you can turn off your capture. I by default I set them as capture, but if you've come in and you set this up from scratch, so if you're going to use Wi-Fi tool, you can't use 2880 by 2160. That's manual mode only. But this has got a good one. So 1920 by 1440 in 4:3 mode. If I skip through, don't need that. Recorded level, leave. I'll leave it. No, I turn off the date stamp. Keep going through. What else is it? Oh, yeah, this is an important one. Go through slow motion. La, I don't want that. Wide angle. Right. Video bitrate. Set it to high. Unless you want to lose your bitrate. Okay. Close that. It's probably going to turn Wi-Fi on again. No, it's not. That's good. Switch again with that front button again. I'm changing modes by this front button. Go into picture mode. Press the menu button on the side again. And image size. Set your image size. Leave that as default. Again, you might want to turn off date stamp. I always do by default. And that's pretty much it. There's a lot of settings in this camera, which I'm not going to go into. So there's a lot in there. But this now will connect. If I want to connect this, I'm just going to get my cable and show you this. If I want to, I might have to move things around here. if I want to connect, let me twist this around a bit. If I want to connect to as a mass storage device, because I haven't set it as web camera, because obviously if you do that, you know, as soon as you connect it, it goes straight into web camera mode, and you need to disable that. So you've got to decide what the rig is doing. If you're switching between camera functionality, it's a nightmare. Trust me on this, but I'm sure you'll find what suits you. So in here, plug in the USB. It's already plugged into the computer, and it comes up mass storage or PC camera. Now I don't want to set this as PC camera because I've already got it one I'm using, so on. So I'm going to set it as mass storage. Now, did you hear that noise? I'm just going to switch screen. That is not the right screen. This is the right screen. Is this the right screen? There you go. So if I scroll down here, and I'll go get the right one, G drive. Right, you can see the display on here. I've got DSIM. This is well, everyone knows this, movie folder and photo folder. Okay. Right, now I'm just going to move this out of the way. If you're going to set this up as a Wi-Fi system, so this camera is being used in a Wi-Fi setup. I've shown you how to turn the Wi-Fi on. Okay, whether you have it automatically turn on is up to you. But what you need to do is, do you notice on the root of this drive, when it boots up, I've got a file in here called client.txt, so you can see it. Right, if you see on this site, Amica.net uploaded files. I will put a link, Brahma 6. And you go into here and you can see there's a whole lot of files in here. You'll see there's a link that says Git2 and client text. That is the file I'm looking at now. There's also other things in there if you want to have a look at 8K renders, examples of Brahma stuff, etc. There's also distributions in here. You need a registration code, but you can see. Right, sorry, Jesus. So I've showed you my home one there. You'll probably find I'll cut that bit. Right, let's open this up. Okay. Right, what we've got here is this file, and it says. This is the client. You have to put this in the root. Remember I showed you it was in the root. If you go into here, I did show you this, right? Okay, if you're looking there in the root of the camera, of each camera, client.txt, and in there will be your SSID, which is the name of your hub. Okay, that's the hub name, and the WPA2 is your password. Now, don't put a new line after this. There's no new line, see? So keep it there, and you need to do this as a text file. Right, so in fact, it probably wouldn't hurt if you had a new line, but I've not tested it because sometimes these things can cause problems. So Brahma, now if you're setting up as your router, you need to put in your router name and password in, okay? Which is fine. If you're going to put this on your mobile, now it only works, well, you only use it on Android for now. You set up your hotspot and you can tell your hotspot to have a certain name and a password, and I use these. You can put, I don't care what you use, but as long as you put them in here. Now this file is in every single root of every single camera that's going to use it. Now if you've got 6, if you've got 7, if you've got 8, if you've got 18 cameras, you need to put that in each one. And then when you start the camera up, it will, if it's in auto start Wi-Fi mode, yeah, it will then look at this file and it will say, right, okay, and they'll connect. Now there is if you're on a certain version of the software there, well, in fact the version's out there now, unless you bought it after this, there's a bit of a glitch. So every now and then a camera will not connect. There is a fix coming already. It's actually, I've got the fix, but it's in beta, so I will make that available if you are having that problem. Not everybody has that problem, but some people are, so hopefully that will fix that. But that, just to be aware of that, it's a known problem. So that's that. As I said, I'm going to cut that bit out earlier, which has got my thing in it. Right, so that's how you set that. Hopefully that will answer some of the questions that people have been having, not connecting and so on. So I'm come quite some damn way. Setting up Wi-Fi, manual and automatic. I've already done that. Okay, so let's switch to this one, shall we? Right. So that's pretty much turn this camera off. Okay, shove that camera over there. So, right, where are we now? So I'm trying to just keep an eye on where I'm going. So make sure I've covered everything. Camera settings, connecting to USB, camera issues, does not work as manual camera. Yeah, okay, I've covered that. Client text file, covered that. Setting up Wi-Fi manual automatic. So I've done it. So I'm on 6. Configuring camera in Brahma software. Okay. Right. Yes, let me bring this up full screen. Now, if you're using... well, very briefly, let's... because you can see this now. Let's just go for... The new thing, if you've used this software before, here's a new feature here. Now, again, you can see the left-hand side. You can see the Xiaomi. I'm not covering Xiaomi because I've already covered that in another video, and I've pretty much done that one. And I won't... There's nothing new in there, and I won't be doing streaming on the original Xiaomi because the resolution is too low. It's 640 by 480, and it is too low to use for streaming, so I'm not going to bother with it. I will do it later on for the Yi4K. Right, but you can see now there's a button. I had a message saying coming soon, but now you can see this button in the middle. If you click on this button, this brings you into the media player section. Now, there's a number of ways you can play this. I've got, well, first of all, you can press F1 and it brings up the viewer. So I can go through, I will at some stage do it so it remembers your last position before anyone says anything. So I've got photos, I can click on photos and I want to say, I want to look at a picture. Click. Let's try that again. Let's make sure I've got this right. Let me guess, I've broken it. Right. Okay, so I've actually broken this. That means a new release. Right, but I've done this under hotkeys. Okay. Right, so I've got to go back to that as a bug. I thought I'd sorted all them out. Right. Let me show you the hotkey. So right, remember this. This does work. I will fix it, and it works in the streaming version. Okay, it's fine. In fact, let me just... I'll show you in the streaming version later on. So anyway, go into here. If you press on the F2 key, you get the slot editor. So basically, you've got, on the left-hand side, you've got 10 images you can store. Now, maybe later on I'll do more, but I think 10's enough for now. 10 images and 10 videos on the right-hand side. And that means you can do it on the hotkey. So on the main hotkeys, on the main keyboard, you might not have a number pad, but of course you can do that with a function key. But on the main keyboard, above your QWERTY keyboard, you'll have numbers. So I can press, so I'll press on the videos. So the videos are on that main number pad. So you can see.
Hi, my name is Captain Tom Frost.
And I can show my videos. I can load it with the, by the time you actually use this. Okay, right, so this is a Brahma. Yeah. By the time you use this, you'll be able to do this. You can go into the streaming system and actually use that, but that's really for streaming. This is for viewing, so if you use it on like a mobile device, which isn't running on a mobile device yet, so it doesn't actually matter. But you can configure this. Anyway, so that let's come out of that because that's not particularly what I'm here to show you. What I'm here to show you is the camera side. So setup. Let's go through setup again. I've got here my 3 camera rigs, which I'm going to set up. Rig setup. Now, if I click on it, you can see 3 cameras. Brahma Duo. Now, you see I can select auto scan. If you've done the connection with your Wi-Fi and you've got them all connected, okay, you should know the IP addresses of these cameras. That's the first thing. If you don't know the IP address, it's going to cause you potential problems because if you do it manually, you pop them into these boxes. If I click on each of these, can you see they're empty boxes? Okay, so I've got an itchy nose. And the same thing for the 7. The 18 is a separate process. You have to actually go out to a settings file, which is in the device storage, and it's called Git settings. You're going to have to go and find that or email me because I'm not covering that subject because that's quite an advanced subject. But that's for people who've got 18 cameras. My software supports them. Let's go back to the 6. So you can see that. Now, I haven't got cameras connected, but if they were connected, I can press this scan, and usually it works. It'll go in, it'll find all the cameras and set them all up. Now, later on, if ever we do the streaming for the 6-way, that won't work because I'm going to have to you're going to have to position them in the right place. But it doesn't matter for taking photos. Let's go back to Duo. Now you can see I've got 2 IP addresses. These are the cameras. So if the auto config doesn't work, you can just enter the IP configuration you need on your device. If you go to your router, the website, it should tell you the IP address of your cameras. Okay, so that's important. Right, so that's how you do that. Make sure you save settings. Very important. Right, now I'm not actually. Am I actually showing that? Stop videos. Right, if I go into here now, I've already covered the usage in the introduction on the other piece of software. So if I click on the 2 camera now, and it's the same for all of them. Click on the 2 camera. I'm in the main mode. Now I haven't got it turned on, right? The Wi-Fi mode, obviously this is, but you can see I can start the video recording, stop the video recording. I can switch to photo mode, which then takes a picture. All right, that's all there is to this. Okay. Now, I'm back here again. So start, stop pictures, take pictures, transferring files. Transferring files was exactly as I showed you before, which was the connect to USB, transfer your files. Now I'm going to do some more clever stuff in the software later on, but that's not now. So if you want to transfer to your system, you say, for example, video files, you've already seen that, and go back to where I connected to USB. Right, transfer files, why use X? Well, okay. Stream panel, resolution display. Right, okay. So I'm just reading my script to make sure I get it right. Why using XSplit to stream record? This is a process. This system, this software. This is it's a journey. Let's put it that way. So the plan was originally to create a rig, so you can use 2, 6, 7, or multiple cameras to create videos or panoramic photos. Using products like, I kind of settled on AutoPano, and I've covered that in many videos, and it's a fine product. I mean, it really is a great product, and I do like it. And if you want to go for the true final output quality, it's your best route at the moment. Okay, there is Video Stitch, but I wasn't very lucky. I stuck with AutoPano. That's nothing bad about Video Stitch. It's just that when I first, a couple of times I tried to set up, it just wouldn't set up. I'm sure it's something I was doing wrong. But anyway, so AutoPano was just install and go. And I've covered that settings in other subjects. But the idea of my software was this. I wanted to stop people having to use XSplit. Sorry for the banging. I wanted to stop people having to buy the £600 software, which is AutoPano Video. Now, I think at the moment I'm pretty much. Now you're going to go and look at the quality of the live streaming, because basically what I'm going to go on the next thing is using XSplit to do this, and my live stitching software, which sounds grand, and it actually is at the moment, but it's not bad. And I have covered this in my previous introduction, so you can see that, and that's not what this video is about. It's actually setting stuff up, but the idea was to set some software up, this software, so it would do that for you. Now, so at the moment what I'm doing is I'm creating a screen that does this. So if you click, if I open this up and I go into stream, and I'll show you, for example, let me load up a picture. Oh, let me show you this thing working. Here we go. Now I'm in this panel. Let's go back. It does actually work. It's just broken in the other one, obviously, which I will fix. 360 photos. Because it might be broken in this. Here we go. Does take a couple of seconds. Oh, maybe it's broken in both. Oh, okay. So that's an easy fix then. All right. Well, let's do it with that then, shall we? Here we come. Right. So what we've got here is, now this is, you can see, it's a streamed image that I've taken, but this was done with AutoPano. Don't confuse it, because I'm trying to be completely honest about everything here. This picture was taken and stitched with AutoPano, so it's not sharp. I don't do any blending and that kind of thing. My camera seems to have stopped recording here. I don't know if it actually really matters, but let me just refresh it. Okay, yeah, don't know how long that was gone. Right, so as you can see, I've got my video here. Right, now, to show you that this is actually stitching. Now, I suppose I could have done this and showed you, well, here's one. Here's a screen grab from my system. If I go onto here, okay, this will actually try and show the video, but I'll go, see, now can you see that? Right, now it's switched off because, let me go back to ident, show you that picture. What it's doing is, if you look at this, do you see how it's doing the stitching in real time? Okay. Now it does mean you need a good GPU. But what it's doing is it is actually stitching this in real time. So you can see this and move it around Yeah, and this works just the same for videos. If I press 0, so we get a little bit of this. I like strip. I'll probably get told off for using this. But I'm actually stitching it. I'm actually playing this video into the stitcher as well. See? So the stitcher will work in real time. Let's go back to ident. Now this also works with live camera. Now I haven't got the live camera because it's sitting here, and that's a separate demo. But if I had this streaming in USB or Wi-Fi, you would be seeing these videos on this display now, and they would be appearing, and you can set them up and so on. But I did cover that in the introduction videos. So that's not what I'm here. Now what I am going to show you, no reason, a long way around of telling you why XSplit. The problem was I've done all this work, but I wanted to get this software out there, and if I concentrated on writing my own screen capture and stream to the streaming services, well, for one thing, I might not have done it because it's quite a lot of work. But it's just a delay. Now, XSplit is a fantastic tool, and it will do this perfectly. So why not use XSplit? Because I can stream live now to YouTube straight away. So it's getting people off the ground. That's the reason for doing this way. I will at a later stage, as I've done with the stitching, save you having to get XSplit, but that's down the road. And XSplit is not unreasonably priced. I think it's £75, something like £60 per year. Or there is even a free version, but I don't know what the limits are. I actually pay for it. But if you're serious about this, that's nothing. But there is a few things you need to know about setting up XSplit. So what I'm going to do is I've actually got a video that I'm going to show you, and I'm going to play that. I'm going to switch screens again and show you this video. I might turn. I've actually got myself in there, and I might be a bit big. I'll play this and see how this video. Now this is a video I created to before I started this to go through this subject. So I'm just gonna. If there's anything else I need to show, stream function. I've done function keys. I've covered F1. I've covered that in the other. Well, let's go for it quickly. Right. So you can see up here, F1 loads. Yeah. Load that. That I will fix that. I don't know what's going on with that, but it does actually switch between. It'll play videos, and I've obviously broken something that I haven't noticed. Presets. This is the thing I told you about earlier. Yeah. Bars. Go back to bars. Ident. Press F4 takes you to the first of the images you have in store. So you can have that like you might have a logo for your stream. Press F5 loads up the USB camera, the two camera system. F6 brings up the Wi-Fi, so you can switch between the two. F7 now F7 rig one switch. That's very important actually. If you load up. If you load the cameras up and they don't, because at the moment I haven't got the full rig configurator, that's coming. Okay, so at the moment you need your web cameras plugged in as an ID 0 and 1, so you can't have any other web cameras. That's just temporary. Okay, but as long as you've got these two cameras and nothing else plugged in, they should come up as 0 and 1. Now, the lens settings, the mathematics set up particularly for the lens, depending on which side it's offset. So if you find that the stitching is completely out, press F7 on rig 1 switch, okay, and it will swap the cameras and you'll see the stitching comes in. I did cover this on that one. I showed it working on the introduction video, but just to show, F8 is not used at the moment, it will be. Cam 1 pause. Oh, the bottom left and bottom right, they're telling you the status of the USB cameras, whether they're on or off, because you can turn them on and off. And as you can see, F9 turns the USB camera on and off, okay. Rig 10, now you can F10 and F11. You can turn the background camera or the foreground camera off. And the reason for that, if you've got a slower machine and you find you're slowing down, you can turn one of the cameras off and it will free up a little bit of some cycles and help you. And F12 resets this page, so if anything goes pear-shaped. You'll also notice when you load something up, so if I load that video, move it and press F9, if I press this, it'll automatically move that over, so it's out of position. Load it again, it resets itself just to help you. Go back to there. Right, so let's show you this video now. Hi, in this section I'm going to show you how to set up XSplit for your streaming or recording. You need to set up your screen capture. So first I'm going to show you the game mode, which is full screen, and then I'm going to show you... Sorry. the setup for normal windowed mode. So let's get going on this. There's good reasons for both. The main reason is you should do it mostly in this first method, which is game mode. However, if you do switch screens around, your screen can display. It depends what you're doing. It's mostly, you find it's probably me that has this problem, because when I'm creating these videos, but it's handy to know both methods, but I recommend you use the first one. Right, so we're in XSplit. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to add a game capture. Well, I haven't actually loaded it yet, so let's load the game. So I've got my icon down here, Brahma Viewer. Click on Brahma Viewer. Right, it says 1920. Now this I could set this as 2560 by 1440 if that's what the monitor is set up for. You could do it in 4K. This is where you set that recording up. At the moment I only do 2560 by 1440, but here I'm going to 1920 1080 because it's just easier for videos. Right, so I'm going to set that full screen. Fantastic. Play. Okay, so you can see that's there now. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go into the Git2 over to the duet, because that's where the streaming panel is. Click on streaming panel. That brings up the panel, and now just so I've got something on the screen, I'm going to press F4 to get the ident, which is, you hopefully remember, is the first script. Sorry, it's a picture of me again, but it's a nice sharp picture. This is the first screen in the list. So if you remember rightly, this hot list, so on the left hand side you have all the images, up to 10 images, on the right you have up to 10 videos, and they're all on hotkeys. Anyway, so let's do that. Let's leave the text on just for now, but you can turn it off with the space bar and back on again. Now what I want to do is I want to go and load up the XSplit. So now as soon as I do that, this page will disappear. So if I was to you can see XSplit. If I minimize that, you see the game has disappeared, and I can press that to bring it up again. Okay, switch to XSplit. Now because it's running in full screen in game mode, I can go to add game capture, or game capture Brahma Viewer DX11. See, now it's put that in there, and I can just fill that screen up, and basically the job's done. So this is now set up, ready to go. I will at the end of this, I think I'll show you how to do the. Now that's a separate section. Right. So that's that mode. Right. So let's now do another one. So if I delete that, come back into it, I'm going to close the full screen version out. Eventually, what I might actually do is just do that. Here you go. Let's run this again, but this time I'm going to put it in windowed mode. Okay, so it's there now, and I'll maximize it out. Now if I was to go into XSplit and then minimize it, you'll see it's still there, which is actually quite useful. But the only problem with it is, now if I click on it and go back into stream mode and load up that ident again, you'll see the problem. Right, can you see these bars on the right hand side and the left hand side? They're there to get the aspect ratio correct. But if you're streaming this, you don't want to include them bars, because if you look round behind you, what you're going to see is a great big black bar, and you need to get rid of them. So what we're going to do is I'm going to show you how to get rid of them. So again, now I've got two options here. I can either screen capture, or I can game capture again. So if I go game capture, alright, and scroll that down. Now, do you see when I stretched it, it didn't fill the screen? What we want to do is actually fill this screen with this image and get rid of them black bars. Okay, so I'll tell you what we're going to do. I'm just going to go back, and I'm going to turn off these. Turn them off, that's better. So you can see it's a live feed. Alright, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to press the right mouse button on the display, and it brings up the panel for this object. So if I click on layout, now the first thing we want to do is turn off keep aspect ratio. Now the reason for this is very important. Whatever you're sending out is going to go into a 256 by 1440 or 1920 by 1080p in stream into YouTube. Now I'm only doing YouTube on this at the moment. So what you don't want is the borders, the black lines above. You don't want black lines in the image, and if you looked up and down you'd get like black circles. You don't want none of that, so you need to fill this whole thing will then wrap round accordingly. So you need to turn off keep aspect ratio. Now if you look down here, now you can see my image is actually cropped to the top of the view, but it's the left and right bars that I need to sort out. So, and if you see down here in the bottom, don't press auto crop, okay, but you can see I've got left and right. Now what I'm going to do is, if you watch that bar on the left hand side, you'll see it's pulling in, okay. It's going to keep pulling. I could just type the number because I know what the number is, about 50 odd. Right, but keep going, but I want it to go literally on that texture. That looks like it might be a bit too much, so I can go back. Now let's, with the right hand side, I'm just going to jump in 50 to bring it across, save me clicking. And now it's very important you're actually on the texture, not on the black, okay. So you'll know whether it's right or wrong, because you'll get the when you're streaming, look round behind you and then see if there's a black line. If there's a black line, that means that you need to crop this in just a little bit more, but you don't want to crop in too much because you're cutting into the stitch, okay. So that's basically, that's how you set that bit up. Now what I want to do is I want to put this in the corner. So if you look in position at the top here, 55, set that to 0, set the Y to 0, and then the resolution is the resolution of the display you're doing. So I've got 1920 by 1080, it might be 2560. So that will now, when that streams, that will fill the display and you won't have any problems, okay. It is important that you do this, but I mean, you know, ultimately you can use the game I recommend the game capture, but this is quite good if you're doing tutorials because you can switch between screens because they have a habit of disappearing. It's quite complicated. I mean, especially if you notice I do live streaming. Live streaming can be a bit of a problem, so it's I've showed you both techniques. Right, so that's there. Now what I can do now, oh, this is important, lock position. Press on lock position, that will then lock that completely, it won't move. Go to file and save the presentation. I'm going to save this as, let's say, my 360 test, okay, because I've already got one there, 360 cam. So what you've just seen is a video on how to set up broadcast XSplit broadcaster to use this stream. But one thing I didn't cover was something that's very important, is audio synchronization between your microphone and the screen, because obviously the processing involved in live stitching this takes a little while. So let me just show you how you set that up. So if you go to the bottom right here, you'll see there's a button here, open audio settings. If you click on that, you'll notice right now that I've got a delay set on mine already, and this is a good thing because you can delay you can get the mic in sync with the video. Now with my old setup, when I was 360, and ignore these settings because this is a different thing, but with the 360 settings, my old machine I had to set it for 1000 delay and do it on both the speakers and your microphone, okay. So that was 1000, but now I only set it for 500. This is much faster rig, so it's 5, but you'd have to experiment that with yours. That's kind of important, right? Okay, so this is another reason why for me to, at the moment, it's easy for me to use XSplit to actually do the streaming and to use it for real-time recording and so on. But you know, you choose my application and this and XSplit are available in free versions, so you can play with this if you like it. If you don't, it's up to you. Right, so, but I think it gives you good, and also another good thing about this is XSplit is fantastic. I mean, amazing. If you're even involved in streaming, you should have something like XSplit. Most of the pro YouTubers use XSplit. Anyway, right, let's cancel. Now what I want to do is actually show you setting up a YouTube stream and streaming to it. Okay, so what we're going to do then is we're going to load up YouTube. Now I'm just going to prep it. So if I'm logged into YouTube, go to the upload button, takes you to the upload screen, and normally you drop your files in, but this button on the right side says live streaming, get started. Press that. We want to create a new event. Don't try live streaming, the stream now button, that won't work. So click on events, and we want to create new, up in the top right, new live event. Okay, now I've got it set to public. I could do it unlisted, which actually no, I'm going to do this unlisted because it pops up all the time. You could set it to public and whatever. So I'm going to give it a title 360 test. Okay, now this is important, the start time. Now it's 10 o'clock here. It's really annoying. So I'm going to set it for, change that to 10 o'clock. Otherwise it won't start, and it will start when that time approaches. Now, really important, do not press, at this moment in time, do not press create event. You need to go into advanced settings and change this to a 360 video by ticking this box. Okay, then you can create the event. I tried it the other way around, and then if you do change it after, it doesn't understand. It just seems to be you have to do it first. Select bitrate. Okay, in here you set, now my display on here is especially for record because I'm only recording. Normally I would do this there 1440p, but I'm going to set this up to 1080 because I've got this display set to 1080. So select that. You can, I'm not going to go into all the advanced stuff. You can figure that out yourself. Press save settings, okay, and go to up the top view on watch page. Now live stream is starting soon. 10 o'clock has gone 10. So now I can go back into XSplit, and I want to put something on the screen just so you can see it. So I'm going to, oh, that's not it. I'm going to just load this up, and I'm going to go into stream, turn on stream. I'm not going to stream something. I'm literally just going to put a picture on the screen. I'm going to put the ident picture so you can see it. Now I'm going to swap back. Oh, let's turn them off. Swap back into XSplit broadcast so you can see this. Now, for fun, right, I'm just going to click on me, and I'm going to put me in the middle, alright, because in the middle is where all the action happens. Remember, this is 360. So put me there, in fact. Put me there under the umbrella. There you go. Right, so now I'm going to go to outputs at the top, and I'm going to go to live stream. You will have already set up your account. I mean, I'm not going to tell you how to set up the account. You can figure that out. Now you go to select event. If you click on here and select that event I just created, yeah, that's all there is to it. Start broadcast. That's it. It's off. Now this is kind of why I say I don't want to reinvent the wheel. Right. So now will be on its way. So you can see, I can see at the top the bitrate, what's going, frames encoded, dropped. So, yeah. And if I go back to the YouTube viewer, now this takes about 60 seconds to actually start. But it will get there eventually, live stream, but it takes a little while. I'm just trying to think, what can I tell you in the meantime? Don't need to. Now I've turned the audio off. Okay, can you see now? There you go. So that is now streaming. Now if you turn this right round, that's the stitch in the middle. See, there's no bars. Let me just show you what I mean by this bar. This will oh, that's interesting. It's dropping down. My broadband speed might be a bit slow. That's probably because I'm recording doing lots of things at once. Right. You can see there's no bars. You remember what I was saying? Actually, I might have actually squished that actually, but why is that something like that? Probably got that. Hang on, let's have a look at the image. Let's go back into here. Oh yeah, look, because I'm cropping the image. You can see I'm cropping the image on the left and the right. That's not the full image. That's the reason why it was a bad choice. So I'll tell you what we can do is let's grab another one. Let's put a different picture in. That one should be better. Right, pop that one back in there because it's worth seeing this. So as it would say, as I said, it would take a few seconds. Hopefully that is the full. Let me load this up and I'll just check the layout, because this is the kind of thing you have to work with, you see. So if I look at the right hand side, let me just remember that's 58 and then go 0. Let's try. No, actually I think that might be right actually. Let's put that back up because I'm messing around with this and oh no, that's not even right, is it? Idiot. 1920 by 1080. Okay. I think that's about, is that about right? It could just be the image. Yeah, but let me play with this. I mean, it's not something you know generally need to. Oh, hang on, lock position. Well, look, just that's, you want to trim down the sides. That's all you need to do. Let's go back into here. You can see this in here. Now you can see it's actually not quite right. Okay. the stitch. This is, here you can see me again. Let's go in there, let's see if I can, I'm doing this, I shouldn't really be doing this to be fair, but let me undo the lock. Okay, maybe that's not a good picture. I've got a feeling it's okay, let me oh yeah, okay, I can see what's going on here. Hang on, I can see what's going on. This is all good stuff to know, because this is the stuff I've had to learn as I've gone along with this. I'm going to delete that back and I'm going to add it again. Game capture. Right, so that's better. Pop that in there, swap that over so you can see me. Right, now you can see that actually is a bit better now, isn't it? See, this is just purely, I've set it up for something else obviously, and so that's there now. That's still streaming, okay, because you can do all these changes while you're doing it. And what I want to actually show you is what would happen with the black bars. Oh yeah, we're kind of mucking about here, it's not actually caught up yet. Let's go back into here. That's that. Fact, let's go in here. Sorry about this, but it's all good learning for you, I think. I've got to be honest, I think it is actually a good learning experience for you. Yeah, it looks like it's pretty much got it all in it. We'll jump into there now. Are we actually, there you go, see, that's nice now. That's actually correct. That's showing the full thing. Now I'm going to break it and show you what happens when you change these settings. So turn off, keep out. I don't know why I've got that. Right, what I want to do is I want to I'm gonna shrink that bit and I'm gonna pull these in, right? So I'm gonna really exacerbate this. Now it does take a few seconds, but that's the kind of thing you're trying to get away from. You remember those black bars? Okay, we've got to wait for this to come up now. It does take, it will appear here when you see it first. As I said, there we go. Can you see that? Right, and you see the hole at the top and the bottom? Yeah? And you're trying to minimize that. That's what you're trying to stop. Okay, so if I go back into here, and then we'll put this back the way it was. And remember I was saying, again, remember the instructions earlier when you're cropping, because this is another way, is somebody you crop in, you want to actually make sure that you're getting the full thing. So you need to watch all these. This is just experience and even stuff on the fly. Let's go back into here so you can see this now, and you should see that pull in. See it pulling in? See that? Disappearing. Okay, so that's basically all you're doing. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually stop that. I'm going to stop that. Can I go back to... No, I'm not going to do that. Oh, I can record this, can't I? Hopefully this has helped. It's a weird one, isn't it? Hopefully that's helped. And have fun. Okay, thank you very much.